My name is Sam Christensen. I am the CEO of AION Prosthetics, yeah.
If someone had to ask you what AION was, how would you tell them in an elevator pitch?
Yeah, we're kind of looking to be the future of prosthetics in a way that's affordable, in a way that's currently mechanical. So we look to be kind of the direct-to-consumer aspect of prosthetics, which currently exists in a very, very kind of small way. And we want to bubble that a lot bigger than it is right now. So affordability is on the top level, and then followed by immediately what the consumer needs. So, they don't need something fancy or high tech, they need something mechanical and robust at this moment, and then we build from there.
What was it about Nebraska that made you guys look to come here?
I think one of the biggest things was the innovation studio. I think that was one of them. We were told that there was lots of kind of like, since we're hard tech, they were saying there's lots of possibilities, especially in the Nebraska area. We didn't realize how insane the innovation studio is. So we have tons of things that we have here that we wouldn't have anywhere else. The other one is obviously the accelerator program that we were in. Was a huge draw towards us, especially in this space, for sure.
What about the innovation studio really stood out to you? The printers, the people?
Yeah, we do a lot of like rapid prototyping, and so when I saw the Markforged, it's something that I've wanted to use for a really long time. So the capabilities were definitely there.
Yeah, tell us about that Markforged.
Yeah, so the Markforged is a special 3D printer that uses carbon fiber filament that reinforces the plastic when it's printing. So basically you can get similar strengths to aluminum without it's similar weight to strength ratio of aluminum in prints that cost like $10, $5, something like that. So insane capabilities for prototyping and for like end use products as well. So we're going to be mixing a lot of the different prototyping stuff that we have to create kind of our prototypes that are going to be sent out.
You kind of see the DTCing of every industry these days. Why hasn't prosthetics been attempted? There's
big legacy tech issues in play. Not necessarily issues, but it's the way people have done things since World War II, and casting and molding, and there's lots of people that are very good at doing the casting process and the molding process, especially with socket design. So what we're kind of doing is we stepped away from the socket design and focused strictly on the terminal device, which is most sockets have like an adapter that you can screw the hand or device onto. So we kind of stay out of the way of a lot of what isn't possible to do with direct-to-consumer, and we give them something that they can take out of a box and use like immediately. So
we are definitely taking a different approach to this. To kind of go off of what Sam was saying, all these other companies and all these other startups are working in this myoelectric space, where they are also, stepping on a prosthetist's toes. The prosthetist, their job is to create the socket. And what these other companies are doing is they're trying to, take them out of the equation. And that's not what we want to do. We want to keep them there. That's an art form. That's been something that they've been doing for years. And, it's something that needs to stay as is. So that's why we, wanted to step away from that and just focus on something that, is not going to interfere with their work. And I think that's just kind of helping, us and them. It's not really getting in the way of anybody, so.
Who was the first person that you spoke to in Nebraska about potentially coming here? Was there someone who reached out to you? Did you know somebody? How did it happen?
It was definitely Scott from the accelerator program. Yeah, he was just like, well, you should come here because we have pretty good resources, and then a lot of companies are being built out of Nebraska and growing. So and also being from Iowa, knowing the manufacturing costs of being kind of from smaller town is 3x less than you'd find in cities around like Chicago or either the coast. So.
What town are you from in Iowa?
I'm from Mason City, Iowa, yeah.
Okay, what's the population?
I think it's 30,000. Okay. It's a bigger size for Iowa.
Can you tell us about the day that you decided you were going to move here? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah, so I think it was like we all wanted to move somewhere together to work, to just be in the same place, working on the same project, because that's the most efficient way we can do things. Definitely not remote. And so it was kind of, for the longest time, it was just like, yeah, we're going to move to Nebraska. Yeah, we're going to move to Nebraska. And eventually we're just like, we just need to go this weekend because time's running out, you know, and we just have to get there. So I think we just found a house and got it within like a week and moved out here. So, yeah.
It all kind of came together when we were in college. Probably around our sophomore year is when we all really got to know each other. And it came junior year is when we really formed this pretty close-knit group and worked on a project together titled Form Y, the Form Y bike, a wooden bicycle that we all worked on together. And that was when we realized after the end of that project that we work extremely well together, and we wanted to continue that growth together beyond that. And yeah, we ended up after graduating, we're like, hey, let's try and start a business and see where it goes. And yeah, and we haven't gotten this far, so you know we're doing pretty well, I'd say.
Let's talk more about Nebraska. Who else has mentored you here?
We've worked with, we have a lot of mentors that we've met.
Well, I won't tell them if you forget a name or two.
Yeah,
but
I know some people that are in the Midwest that have helped us a lot. Besides, you know, the Accelerator Studio, everyone here at the Innovation Studio has been helpful. You know, Dan Duncan, getting us this space and being able to kind of show us, you know, the capabilities that are out here. In terms of Nebraska, I'd have to check to see if they're living in Nebraska because everything's been over Zoom. So it's hard to tell where people's been from.
Good point.
Because we haven't met anyone, you know, face to face. So
yeah, good point. Good point. Can you tell us just about Innovation Campus? And I know we spoke about it a little bit and just how, you know, universities are starting to build things like Innovation Campus, but what does that kind of mean to a creator and to a state who's like kind of looking forward and looking to be more innovative?
I mean, this is how you do it, right? This Innovation Studio itself is insanely priced for what it is. You know, anyone can come in here and work on stuff, and I think that's a really good way of approaching things. I mean, this particular studio rivals what you'd see in a lot of, you know, top 1 through 5 industrial design schools and engineering schools. So we were very impressed, especially coming from Iowa State, where, you know, they pride themselves in having top 10 industrial design. I mean, the capabilities there versus here, it's probably 6 times bigger and 10 times, actually 20 times as funded, you know? So that's how you make ideas, right? If you have smart people, you need smart machines and ways to be able to build them. So
starting a startup in Lincoln, Nebraska is probably going to be one of the best things that you can do if you are trying to do a startup, simply because, you know, you're in a city, it's a city, you know, it's a college town, it's fun, first of all, and, you know, it has almost everything that you would need to start a startup. You know, for us, the Innovation Campus, we have, you know, all the machines and manufacturing machines that we would need to be able to create a prototype. What else? You know, the community is full of knowledgeable people in the startup space.
Has anything else stood out to you about Nebraska, about working with the people here, about you talk about the value a lot, you know, of just, you know, the like land value, the resources. What about the people or anything about the culture that?
Yeah, I mean, the people that you're able to reach out to, for example, like these big places that, you know, like Shane is working on in a virtual incision, these different places you'd never be able to get into to even talk to these people in any other kind of East or West Coast. So like you're kind of attacking that Nebraska nice in a way, you know, of connections. And it's the same with anywhere in the Midwest, but Nebraska especially has the higher level of kind of presence when it comes to building these small businesses out, especially Lincoln. And so that's been super helpful. It's been just the combination of super nice people and available opportunities it's a clash, right? So
That's a really great answer. Something that I hear from people is that people are very reachable in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any stories about reaching out to someone, not thinking that they'd respond to you, and then just being like, hey, yeah, I'll take a meeting with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like literally everyone we talk to. There's a thing of, when you're emailing a lot of people in like the West Coast, East Coast, Josh and I have experiences with talking to people in like East or West Coast. They just, either they don't care because you're from the Midwest, or they just don't care what you have to say, and that's not the case when it comes here. Intelligence is obviously very something that you can always talk about with people, and people are very approachable when it comes to sharing experiences, sharing ideas, and so everyone that we've reached out in Nebraska, I don't think there's been a single person that has said no to meeting up with us. I mean, there's investors here that have built companies that have gone on to build like huge empires, right, and sell them off. And so, what's the last name? Let me get the last name. Sievers, David Sievers. Yeah. So David Sievers is a huge like pillar of this community, right, and is someone that's, like I said, built his company up to the point where it got bought out by Disney, and he's sitting on quite a success off that, right? And that's someone you'd never be able to talk to when it comes to East or West Coast. And we basically messaged him, I think, one day, and he was just like, yeah, I'm at the cigar lounge. You guys should all come down, and we'll have a cigar and talk. And so we just went to a cigar lounge dressed in like sweats, and like it was like this political meeting, and he was there, and we got to talking like 3 hours. We went into he took us in the back room, and super nice to us, is a huge proponent of what we're doing. And I think it comes down to, like good people know good people. There's the side of that people don't like, that's like nepotism, but there's a side of that that's very true. It's like a lot of people that have done successful things can recognize other people that will do successful things as well. And in Nebraska, that's very easy to find and talk to those similar people.
I want to just bring up David again, just because he was probably the first guy out here of all the investors that we got to talk to that really kind of invited us in, and he's just a really, really cool person. When we got to talk to him for those 3 hours, it was like, it's just a super inspiring guy, telling us to keep pushing, keep moving forward, and don't slow down. Really, you'll get to a point where it's really going to take off as long as you keep trying. And that was really his main point that he brought up to us. So yeah, I don't know. I think David was a really cool person to talk to.
Speaking about the product, I guess specifically, or the business, have there been any notable tipping points so far, or just a big success? I mean, obviously you're not quite to market yet, but any notable wins that you can reference? Yeah,
we've, I think one of the biggest wins that we've definitely had along the way has been our amputees, our beta test community. That's probably the biggest win that we've had, just because a lot of the products that we're showing people, they're super interested in. Not only are they interested in, they're willing to invest money. We had like a deposit fee that we were running to kind of reserve spots for this beta prototype, and they got filled up pretty fast. So it's something that people want. It kind of proves out the idea, kind of proved out the concept, and that was number one win for us. So we're trying to follow up on that success that we promised. And yeah.
Do you remember when you saw that all of those spots had filled up? Did it happen in like an hour, or did you open your email and all of a sudden see that they were all filled up? How did that work?
I think at first it was like slow at first, but it was because we reach out to people one-on-one, and we talk to basically all our amputees that are going to be testing it, make sure they're a good fit for it as well. So basically after every conversation, people would be like, yeah, where do I sign up, type of thing. And then we got other people like telling their friends and their amputee communities, being like, hey, these guys are doing something. I believe in them, you should believe in them too. And so when you get that kind of connection, when someone else believes in you without even having the product, that's a sign that something is wrong in the current space, and there needs to be a product to fill that void. We're running on very fast turnaround times. So right now we're trying to get something out that's manageable, like skeletal, to our amputees, just to test out the mechanics, kind of like within the month or so. And then after that, we're looking to expand and make sure everything's primed up and ready to go. So we're probably looking at like 3 months, 4 months, maybe like half a year before we can get the full product out and we can actually build out the machine that's going to keep making them, whether that's like short run injection molding for certain parts and stuff like that. So I think the biggest part of the story here is like people need the solution that we're offering, and it's not just another. We're trying to make sure it's not just like another science project that a lot of companies take up, especially startup companies. They focus kind of like on the myoelectric hands and the hands that are very, very expensive. And right now the technology, including batteries, motors, coming even from the humanoid research side, is just not enough. It's not miniaturized to the point where it's workable for the human, and also just the human-brain interaction is something that needs to be slightly more invasive. So, from the mechanical perspective, we kind of see it as there hasn't been enough tried in that space, and these options that we're providing are something that's affordable and super easy to use. So we're making sure that the amputees are kind of at the heart of what we're doing, and making sure that we don't get carried away with our own ideas, and really making sure that it provides actually a better life for them.